Ho, 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 ho! It's Santa here. Everybody at the Cinema Craptaculous channel wishes you a very happy holiday. Oh, but if you want to stay on Santa's good list, remember to tell all your friends about the Cinema Craptaculous podcast channel and to subscribe and give us a review. Now it's time for the show to start. But where are my earbuds? Oh, Rudolph, you didn't accidentally swallow them again, did you?
And thank you for joining us for this special holiday episode of Cinema Craptaculous Presents The Expanded Universe with your hosts, John H.H. Ford, Mario, Doc, Diaz, and Smoore. From movies to TV series to toys to comics to pop culture to jingles all the way, this show is your safe space for all things geeky and where you can get your geek on. Yes, this is John H.H., and with me, as always, are my geektacular co-hosts.
This is Doc.
And Smoore. Ho, ho, ho.
Happy holidays.
It's been a while, guys. Really good to be back.
Welcome back, Doc.
Doc, you missed the Halloween episode. I think every 5 minutes we'd say, Doc needs to be here. This is his wheelhouse.
Right. Well, Doc, how was that 40-hour Christopher Nolan marathon?
Oh, it was great. It's the best sleep I've had in years.
You know, we joked about the Oppenheimer costume, and sure enough,
You did it.
I did it well. I mean,
Right?
Yeah.
He looked like J. Robert Oppenheimer back to life.
Did it make you want to go back to all of the Nolan movies? Like, I'm going to dress up as Matthew McConaughey in Interstellar, and I'm going to do Leonardo DiCaprio in Inception and The Dark Knight. And
Dude, you totally do Batman. Batman, come on.
Yeah, no. I could just go around doing the Batman voice all the time.
It's the holidays, and it's funny because Cinema Craptaculous, the channel, has been, kind of sporadic because of the strikes, and I think we're through the fire on that now, so we could talk about whatever we want. But the holiday episodes is always my favorite because, well, we should be drunk, but we're not. But we could. We could be doing eggnog, and no one would really judge us.
I mean, I could be drunk now. You just wouldn't know it.
He's like, speak for yourself.
I know. And what time of day is it for me and Smoore?
Well, it's happy hour somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, the city of London definitely gets into Christmas. I mean, to put it mildly, literally November 1st.
Is it extra Christmassy over there? Like, snow, banners, lights, reindeer?
Honestly, it depends on where you live, I think. I don't see it any more or less Christmassy than, in the U.S. And I think people get into it. But also London is a lot more multicultural than like even L.A. So there are a lot of non-Christians who, are not overly into it. But in general, the city does do a lot. Yeah.
So you guys, are the streets all decorated? All the
not as much as I thought. I don't know. I mean, it's, again, you're dealing with these Victorian era flats, so people rent and may just have like a couple of windows. I think if you get out into certain areas, it's not like, suburban USA where you've got 6,000 lights and giant inflatable snowmen and Santas all over the yard.
No people walking around cosplaying as Bob Cratchit and Tiny Tim or anything like that?
Right? I was picturing guys with top hats walking down the street.
It's funny because I tell people, I say, in the U.S., we totally have patterned the Christmas habits and decor over white Victorian era Dickensian Christmas time with snow and all that. And a lot of people here just don't. It's funny, and I'm like, well, of course, in the States, they had, Coca-Cola reshaped how we view Santa Claus, and then kind of that artwork of the 1940s kind of bled into Christmas time in the U.S. And here, though, everywhere you go, you do hear Mariah Carey.
You hear it here too, especially in my office, especially down the street, all over.
Now, speaking of Mariah Carey, did you guys know that she's obviously dominated the top spot every year for, her song, but this year she was dethroned.
Ooh.
Did you guys hear who?
Oh God,
Who?
Taylor Swift.
No.
Who?
Go way older. Peggy Lee's
Rocking
Around the Christmas Tree.
Right.
Yeah.
After what,
Really?
67 years or something like that?
Yeah. It's the most number one. I don't know what the metric is. Is it like most played, most downloaded? I'm not sure. Most requested on streaming. I'm not sure. I didn't read the dynamic, but she was 13 when she recorded it. And
I know she was that young.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I guess Mariah Carey did this in person. Did not have her assistant do it, I'm sure. But a bouquet of flowers with a nice note arrived on Miss Lee's doorstep saying, "Congratulations."
Any idea how the song like popped back into the charts or what?
I don't know.
Did it blow up
Just,
on TikTok maybe or something?
Could be. I know that, like, so for instance, Love Actually played a hand in the longevity of All I Want for Christmas because, in the early 2000s, it wasn't quite as ubiquitous, but then it got some traction when they perform it at the end of the finale of that movie, which became a cult status at the holidays. But speaking of Christmas movies, our actual episode today, we were talking amongst ourselves and we were marveling at, obviously there's Christmas movies that are just played year after year. I think last year we talked about what makes a Christmas movie. We had a whole argument. Smoore had a very compelling argument as to it's a Christmas set movie, but it's not about Christmas. And so,
Right.
But we thought it'd be fun to think about, like, well, there's a lot of directors that never did a Christmas movie. And, well, wouldn't it be great if some of our favorite and not so favorite directors actually directed a Christmas movie? What directors do we think should direct a Christmas film, and what would those films be like, and who would star in them? What about directors no longer with us? Do they count? I mean, who wouldn't want to see Jingle All the Way We Were by Sidney Pollack? Damn it, isn't this just the perfect topic for us geeks to dive into here on the Expanded Universe? So grab some hot cocoa and holiday cookies, and let's pitch some really horrible Christmas films.
Sweet.
So like, can we all agree like 2 directors to possibly eliminate right off the bat are Shane Black and Tim Burton?
Yeah.
Because Shane Black has already had multiple Christmas movies, and Tim Burton, he has a couple himself.
Right.
Yes.
But you'd be surprised how many directors have not directed a Christmas movie. I guess it's not as commonplace as I thought, although
I could see them not being passionate about wanting to do it, but from a revenue standpoint, you're just kind of guaranteed residuals, Seems just sort of like a good business decision depending on how well the film does.
I guess, but if you're like an artist, maybe your heart's not into it, maybe you don't like Christmas, maybe some directors have bizarre ideas about Christmas and just doesn't want to get into it. It's not always about the money.
Well, in Hollywood, back in old Hollywood, there's plenty of screenplays that like are beloved and turn into beloved films that are written by non-Christians.
True.
As are most of the music of that era.
Yeah, doesn't Kenny G have a Christmas album? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it is kind of guaranteeing revenue, and you get like a full month of play, and especially with the movies on streaming, we came from cable TV backgrounds, and there definitely is licensing. It's changed a lot, but I think there's still money to be made. But more than anything, your film will just kind of live on. Why don't we go around and talk about what are some directors that we might consider, and what would their films be?
All right, John, start us off. What director do you pick?
Well, I actually have 2 by this director, so I'll just start with one. And this would be Martin Scorsese's Naughty and Nice Fellas. Set in the 1980s on the snowy, mean streets of Brooklyn, rival crime families learn the true meaning of Christmas after they go to war over selling bootlegged Cabbage Patch Kids, which, as you know, was an actual thing back in the 80s with organized crime.
Now, would this be like a violent film? Would it be like, people dressed as elves shooting each other?
Oh, yeah. And like hijacking truckloads of Cabbage Patch Kids and shooting the driver. And yeah.
Can we have Joe Pesci as a really mean elf?
Really mean elf.
Merry Christmas, motherfucker!
I'm here to make toys for you.
He gets a candy cane and shoves it in someone's ear. I have one that we can just get out of the way because it probably already exists online because of AI. A Wes Anderson Christmas movie.
That almost falls into the ones that we toss out simply because AI has created this whole litany of fake trailers of Wes Anderson films.
So it's like, just because his style, like, it's so recognizable. But like, so imagine like Bill Murray as Santa Claus, Angelica Houston as Mrs. Claus, Willem Dafoe as Krampus.
Yes.
Yeah, you got Owen Wilson as Jack Frost. You got Tilda Swinton as an Ice Queen or something like that. You got Jason Schwartzman as like a head elf. And you can call it the Grand Royal Arctic Dispatch Kingdom Aquatic or something like that.
Oh my God. That's fantastic.
I literally think that, like with what they do with AI, you just plug everything you just said and it would spit out like a spot-on trailer where everybody's, staring at the camera, spouting out some deadpan dialogue.
And don't forget, Timothée Chalamet's in there somewhere.
Of course.
He's Tiny Tim.
Ralph Fiennes would narrate it, and he wouldn't do it in like a Dickensian. He would just do it in the, once upon a time in the North Pole. And then they talk really quickly. And then like the backdrop drops out, like it's all like practical, backdrops.
Now, would the color palette be like, just muted colors, or would it be like primary color palette?
You got some pastels in there. You got a lot of browns, a lot of earth tones.
Yeah. Earth Towns. That's a good one.
Earth Towns.
S'more, do you have any?
I do. I'm gonna go for the obvious director for me. Christopher Nolan has yet to direct a Christmas movie, but the
Oh my
perfect Christmas
gosh.
movie from Nolan will be an awe-inspiring adventure into the very soul of Christmas with an intellectual spin called X Mas. Now, the film will involve basically the dichotomy between Jesus, played by Cillian Murphy, who right before he is crucified has a dream that he becomes Santa Claus. But then as the movie plays out, you realize that, oh no, he's not actually Jesus, he's Santa Claus, and he somehow inverted himself back through time to the time of Jesus. So you have Gary Oldman as Pontius Pilate, who also doubles as one of his chief elves.
Wait, how many toys are we putting in the bag? All of them!
And then, of course, you're going to have cameos by Robert Downey Jr. He's going to be like an elf. You're going to have an evil businessman named, Remy Malek. He'll be one of the Romans who executes Jesus, but he's also a corporate raider who wants to buy out Santa and his companies. But then eventually you realize that both realities do exist in the core of the heart of one man called Xmas.
Holy cow.
I have a question. Who does Michael Caine play?
Michael Caine, he plays John the Baptist, preaching the coming of Jesus, but then in the real world or the Christmas world, he's actually the original Santa Claus who hands down his traits to Cillian Murphy Santa Claus.
Right. And,
it's not like that big ho-ho-ho like you see in America. It's a lot more realistic, like what Michael Caine and Christopher Nolan did with the Dark Knight series.
like they actually work the ho-ho-ho into, realistic speak. It's like, ho-ho-ho. It's like a cough. So he works in the ho-ho-ho, but it's meta.
But then you question, was that really meta or was that really intentional?
S'more, this was incredible. And I think we should have done a disclaimer beforehand to, register all of these pitches. or somehow watermark the audio. Because if this gets out, because that film's going to happen, and you're going to go, son of a bitch, Nolan.
I'm going to want
stole
my cut
my
too.
idea.
Damn you, Nolan. Give me my cut.
The movie's going to happen. It's going to be a half hour too long, and parents everywhere are going to be playing this movie for their kids on Christmas Eve just to knock them out so that Santa doesn't have any problems delivering those presents.
Oh, gosh. Beautiful stuff. Well, speaking of summertime film directors, because, actually, I don't think we had one from him this summer, but this is an obvious one. This is going to be Steven Spielberg's Indiana Jones and the Silver Star.
The Silver Star, okay.
Now, I don't believe that Spielberg has directly directed a Christmas film. I think he's produced. Didn't he produce? Isn't his production?
He produced
like that.
But he's never directed.
The Peter Jackson, those CGI ones, like the Jim Carrey
Polar
Christmas
Express.
Carol. I think.
Christmas Carol.
Yeah. But this is like directed. So this is a live action Christmas film, full on. Professor Henry Jones Jr. Yeah, right?
Right.
And his wife, Marion Ravenwood, I'm not killing her off, come out of retirement for one more adventure to join the Cinnamon Bear and find the legendary Silver Star that once has gone from the now grown-up siblings Judy and Jimmy. Now, this won't mean anything to the people that don't know the Cinnamon Bear story. People in the Pacific Northwest, it was a 1940s radio serial with the Cinnamon Bear and his books, and I played the Cinnamon Bear at a department store mall for Christmas once in college as a job.
Oh, God.
Judy and Jimmy are the protagonists, and they meet the Cinnamon Bear, and so in this film, Indy joins the Cinnamon Bear to find this because Judy and Jimmy are their families are having bad problems, and only getting that Silver Star back will set things right. So it's up to the 85-year-old archaeologist and his spouse to save Christmas. Dun 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 dun, with the jingle bells in the background. Dun dun dun. Venturing from the Mall of America in Minnesota to the wilds of toy factories in Shenzhen, China, to the soda pop and candy-filled mystical Maybe Land. This is the ultimate Christmas adventure, and with a talking bear.
Is he going to say elves? Why do they have to be elves?
He's going to say, move, bear.
Will they bring back Short Round for this one?
Yes.
Well,
yeah, because he's going to go back to a toy factory, and you're going to find out Short Round is like CEO of the board of this big toy company, and he needs his help tracking down his star. So yeah, it would be a holiday Indiana Jones film, but we can talk about franchises later. Anybody else? Next director?
I got one. Quentin Tarantino. So Quentin Tarantino, it'll be his 10th film, his 10th and final film, because he keeps going on about how he's only making 10 movies and that's it.
All
It'll
right.
be set in the 70s. And damn it, I never got my Vega Brothers movie, so I'm including the Vega Brothers.
Nice.
And it's going to be Have Yourself a Vega Merry Christmas.
A
Vega Merry
Vega
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Oh my gosh.
So you're going to have Vic and Vincent in their 20s. So you're going to have to recast them because, Madsen and Travolta, have aged out. So
Timothy Chalamet?
Oh, geez, I don't know. So it'll be a bit of an origin story. Kurt Russell is going to play their dad. He's going to be throwing on the Santa Claus costume once again, a la Billy Bob Thornton. He's going to be a crooked department store Santa who's up to no good, and basically it shows how he sets his kids up on a life of crime. And at one point we have to have a scene where Kurt Russell, their dad, starts telling them how he doesn't believe in Christmas because when he was little, his dad tried to surprise them one day. He dressed like Santa Claus and came down the chimney and, oh, fuck, that's Gremlins. Shit. Anyway, it's going to be told in chapters. So it's going to be told in 12 days. And, of course, you got to start with the 9th day of Christmas. That's where we're going to start our movie, and we're gonna hop around from there.
Oh my gosh,
Wow,
this is great.
nice.
Is there going to be room for like cameo appearances by Brad Pitt maybe?
Oh, yeah. Bunch of
Oh, it
cameo
has to be.
appearances.
Yeah.
A bunch.
And some TV actor from like the 1980s that's still alive that we haven't seen for a while.
And, of course,
No.
we're gonna find a role for Sam Jackson. He's going to be in there.
Yeah. Oh my gosh,
That's
this
awesome.
is great. I would totally see that. I would totally see that. Well, I'm going to throw out a female director.
Okay.
This film is going to be Emerald Fennell's Elf on an Elf.
Elf
All
on
right.
an Elf.
Elf on Elf.
Elf
All
on
right.
an Elf. Yes. So this is going to be Saoirse, how do I say?
Cicerone.
Saoirse Ronan
Uh-huh.
is a promising young female elf at the North Pole who wants to take on the rampant sexual harassment happening at Santa's toy factory.
Oh God.
So she sabotages a bunch of talking dolls and plush animals to repeat all of the suggestive and inappropriate lingo the male elves have said to the female elves. Well, when these toys land in the hands of children, it creates a bit of a global uproar that threatens to derail Christmas for all time. With Santa himself now persona non grata to the public, it's up to Mrs. Claus, who would be playing Mrs. Claus?
Julianne
Moore.
Yep.
And a remorseful Nadine to set things right, while also spreading the message of equality and workplace ethics. That is Emerald Fennell's Elf on an Elf.
Wow. Okay. All right.
I was a little worried when you said Elf on an Elf. I thought it was going to be the first holiday adult film or something.
Let's see. I thought I was porn. Yeah. Here, like,
Yeah.
okay.
Well,
I'll get it
that's
on.
part of what they're addressing is that your brain goes there because you guys are perverted men. And in the North Pole, time's up, all you little perverted elves.
You said
Hilarious.
Pole.
Okay. Speaking of poll, so I'm going to throw out my director, Mr. James Cameron. I believe he's produced a number of films, but never directed an actual Christmas movie. And this movie is going to be called The Pole. So the premise is there's something wrong with the North Pole because the Earth is slowly moving out of its axis. So Ed Harris leads a team of like explorers and travelers who's going to go to the North Pole and find out what's going on and hopefully reset it. But when they get there, they find that there's someone who actually lives in the North Pole. His name is Santa, played by Jeff Goldblum. And his
I'm liking this idea already. Tell me more.
Jeff Goldblum, Santa, has realized that all these years in the pole, mining the pole energies so he can travel the world in less than 24 hours to deliver presents, has damaged the Earth. So they have to convince Santa to stop doing it. He doesn't want to. Conflict ensues, and there you go.
Now, you do intend to have like lots of big CGI, like disaster special effects and things like that?
Well, it's
you
James
know?
Cameron. So big special effects. You have a scene where you have like, Jeff Goldblum Santa battling Ed Harris. Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio's in this too. She plays a love interest, but she's torn between her love for Santa, her childhood love for Santa, and her love for Ed Harris's character. Sam Neill's going to be in there too. He's going to be one of the researchers.
Right. Yeah.
And
So we're going to digitally recreate through AI Bill Paxton. He's going to play like an elf. Yeah.
game over, man. Game over.
Day's over, man.
Why don't you put Mrs. Claus in charge?
I was going to say this movie's going to be released in like 2035 as they wait for the special effects to catch up, right?
Pretty much. And he's going to have 4 or 5 different sequels. So you have the Pole, you have the South Pole, then you have the Pole 3,
Yeah.
and then all the poles.
Don't forget that there'll be the special edition. So one will be 3 hours, and then the other one will be 3.5 hours.
Right.
Yeah. This is a really good movie. I'm going to only poke a hole into the casting because Ed Harris and Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio loathe James Cameron and do never want to talk about making The Abyss.
You know what? The money will take care of it. They'll be fine.
Yeah, didn't one of them drown or something? Sorry, not drown. Didn't one of them almost drown?
Ed Harris almost drowned twice. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Actually, I think they're doing a special edition. I think they're releasing The Abyss theatrically, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know.
That's a good one.
Hey there, we'll be right back. And now, back to the show.
Jordan Peele. Okay.
Yes.
Of course. It's got to be horror. So it's Cramp Us.
Oh, nice.
Perfect.
Monkey Paw production. The elves, turns out the elves, they turn out to be goblins under the control of Santa, being forced to do labor. They revolt, they break away from his control, and for some reason they start holding hands across the North Pole. So you have like this whole scene where the elves / goblins are holding hands across the North Pole, and every once in a while you cut away to like some scenes where for some reason the reindeers go on a killing spree and they start eating people or something like that for some reason.
Nice.
I like it.
Oh my gosh, that's great. Now, would this be funny or would it be more horror, depending on your point of view?
Oh, it's got to be horror, man. He's a serious film director.
Horror director, yeah. Horror
serious horror.
Well, but this might be where he surprises people and they expect a horror film and it's like a flat out like callback to Key and Peele comedy.
Well, it could be a feel-good horror film. How about that?
Feel good horror film. Gosh, because there are some feel good horror films. God, that's great. I'm going to go back to Mr. Scorcese with one more film from him, and that would be Cape Snow.
Yes.
Leonardo DiCaprio plays an ex-convict who's released from prison seeking revenge on Santa Claus for not getting him the bicycle he asked for when he was 10 years old. He tracks down the Clauses, played by Robert De Niro and Meryl Streep, to the North Pole and ties them up. But when he realizes that the mall Santa all those years ago was not the real Santa, and after tying everyone up and torturing them, Santa gets him to read his Christmas list, Santa's Christmas list, where he finds out that a little boy in the same rough neighborhood that DiCaprio's character grew up in has asked for the same type of bike. So with the help of some streetwise elves, played by Mark Wahlberg and Matt Damon, the convict learns a valuable lesson in the Christmas spirit, unties the Clauses and all the other elves that he tied up and assaulted, apologizes profusely, and helps Santa deliver presents, including that bicycle. Cape Snow.
I like it. I watch it.
DiCaprio, he comes out and he's all covered in tattoos. And
is there any cheek biting in this movie?
There is. Yeah, he does. He bites Santa's cheek and gets a big mouthful of white beard.
Oh God, does he have tattoos on his knuckles?
Yeah. I just Mark Wahlberg's he's got the elf ears and he's so you in prison? What was that like?
Say hello to your mother for me.
Oh,
I see your reindeer. What's that like?
Okay, so I got one from our boy David Lynch, who, as far as I'm aware, has not directed a Christmas movie. His latest entry will be called Blue Stockings. Starred Kyle MacLachlan, out of retirement. He plays a frustrated ex-tax guy who there's something missing in his life, and he keeps having these weird dreams about a dancing green man. And so he goes to his therapist, played by Naomi Watts, who explores his inner feelings, and he realizes that he used to be an elf. And he used to be an elf that worked as a mall Santa. And so he wants to get back to that. And so he goes on this existential adventure where he meets up with random weather people. He drinks too much. He runs into a newly resurrected, what's his name? I'm killing
Dennis
these guys.
Hopper?
Dennis Hopper, resurrected Dennis Hopper, who played the mall Santa Claus and employed him as the elf. Chaos ensues. Murder happens. Naomi Watts ends up dead. We don't know why. And then it ends with David Lynch coming out, giving a weather report about how it's going to snow on Christmas Day. Boom, done.
I hear there's going to be snow everywhere in the U.S. It's kind of a weather anomaly.
Get your presents wrapped.
Of course, there will be little people.
There will be little people dancing. There'll be dream sequences.
Yeah. But he won't he won't cast traditional little person actors. He will get the tallest actors or people like basketball players,
He's got LeBron James.
Yeah, he will, but he'll make them through optical illusions, make them look like elves. That will be
He'll Peter Jackson them.
There you go.
Peter
Timothée
Jackson.
Chalamet, he'll be an elf.
Oh my gosh.
Got a light.
That's great.
Got a light.
We guys have any more?
I got another one. It's not fully developed, but Guy Ritchie makes a Christmas movie.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's not Merry Christmas, it's Happy Christmas.
All right.
Of course, it's got to take place on the East End of London. You can't understand anything that anyone is saying, but everything looks fucking cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Starring Jason Statham, throw in Brendan Gleeson as some kind of Saint Nick, and throw in Henry Cavill. He's got some extra time on his schedule. So, and it'll be called Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Chimneys.
Nice.
And will it be? Will we have like an intro by Hugh Grant? Like he will be sitting in a chair and he was like telling us, yes, once upon a time, and he'll be sitting there in a smoking jacket and he'll open up one of those large oversized books.
I swear, didn't Hugh Grant announce his retirement I don't know how many years ago, and then since then he's been in 10 movies. He just pops up randomly.
Probably.
He's made more movies in the last 10 years of retirement than in his entire body of being an actor. And they've actually been entertaining roles.
He had retired, and then after he came out of retirement to star in that movie with Meryl Streep, and then he hasn't stopped acting since.
Well, that makes me think of actors who never did a Christmas movie that we want to see them play Santa or, an elf. And I think that, what's his name? Daniel Day-Lewis needs to come out of retirement.
Oh, God. He's a method actor.
So P.T. Anderson directs Daniel Day-Lewis as Kay Kringle.
There will be gifts.
There will be gifts.
I will drink your eggnog.
I drink it up.
Drink it up. My left stocking.
No, I think P.T. Anderson needs to do a Christmas movie. He should do a Christmas movie and set it in the 1970s San Fernando Valley, and it's
oh god,
it's gonna be snowy nights, and it's gonna be like a pseudo sequel to his infamous film about the adult industry, but it'll all be set around Christmas time.
Okay.
John C. Reilly will play a mall Santa. William H. Macy will play, an elf.
I got about 2 more, but they're not really fleshed out. So.
Well, let's flesh them out.
I do have one.
You guys got any more first?
I do have one more.
Yeah, go for it.
J.J. Abrams will remake It's a Wonderful Life with Nick Cage, and it'll have lots of lens flare. It'll be the same exact story with lens flare and Nick Cage. Boom,
gosh.
You already know the story. You're just watching it again with Nick Cage.
Oh my gosh. I mean, you could just picture the ranting at the end.
Real quick, according to Sean Moore's rules, that's not a Christmas movie, because just pick another holiday and then the movie could take place in it.
J.J. Abrams is a great director, so there you go.
I like how he remakes the movie.
He remakes a movie.
Oh my gosh.
Frame by frame.
In that exact style, yeah.
In the exact style.
You could just picture Nicolas Cage. So instead of what is it you want, Mary? What do you want? You want the moon? It would be just, well, what do you want, Mary? You want the moon? Just the wild eyes at the end when God, I can see that. Totally see that.
Could we get Cher in there?
Cher?
Cher in some random role. I don't know.
Can we get Sam Jackson as Clarence? Motherfucker, you got your wings. You hear that ding, motherfucker?
And what's his name? Greg
Gunberg?
Greg Gunberg would play the angel. He'd be in there. Greg Gunberg.
You got to have Greg in there.
You got to have Greg. Oh, that's a good one. Doc, let's work out some of your ideas.
All right, you got Francis Ford Coppola. The Father Christmas Part 1 and Part 2.
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant.
In Part 2, you got to have some flashbacks with Leonardo DiCaprio as young Saint Nick. He'll be on loan from Martin Scorsese films. So
sure.
That's the idea. It's not really fleshed out.
Oh, that's
Okay.
great.
That's good.
Oh my gosh. But wait a minute, would this be set in the present day or would it start out like in the 1940s?
Yeah, it's combination. You got present day, and then you got like 1940s, or I don't know. Do the math to show him in the 1940s as a young Saint Nick.
Well, the 1940s is now a very long way away, so we'd have to get like a 103-year-old actor to play present day Father Christmas.
Okay, so it won't be present day. All right, it'll be a period piece. I don't know. Drop him in the 80s.
It'll be set in the 80s.
It's a work in
but
progress. It's a work in progress.
Yeah. I said it wasn't fleshed out. Come on.
There you go.
Cut me some slack.
Okay, I do have another German idea for a director, and it's going to make millions of dollars. It's going to be violent too. Zack Snyder decides that he's going to take on Christmas, called Holiday Justice. Ben Affleck plays an angry Santa Claus, bitter that no one really thanks him for all his work. So he goes from house to house and just blows houses up and tosses kids presents. He's like,
in slow-mo.
Slow-mo.
With a filter.
And Santa Claus is ripped. Yeah, you have to have a scene where Santa Claus is shirtless and he's just like
he's just
totally
jacked.
ripped, super low body fat.
There's a scene of him as he's got like a toy bag and it's just filled with iron barbells and he's just like heaving them over his shoulder, in a slow montage.
A montage of him getting ready for
Right. And then at the beginning, it starts out with like Holly Hunter. She's kind of reprising her senator role. Like, now, do we really need a Santa Claus? Have we asked where he lives? Girls, tell me I'm wrong.
And then the building just blows up. You see Santa walk out. Yeah, you need a Santa Claus. And then, of course, you have a slow-mo, ridiculous final battle between Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny, played by J.K. Simmons, ripped and buff.
That would be a good one. And it's funny because there have been these violent Santa Claus movies. There was what was the one with Mel Gibson like 2 or 3 years ago, where he's basically kind of like a meta Santa.
Violent Night?
No, and then there's the one with David Harbour that came out.
Okay, that was Violent Night.
Last year.
Yeah, Violent Night,
Yeah. But speaking of, like, you brought up Zack Snyder and I brought up Indiana Jones, what are some movie franchises that need a Christmas episode? Now, technically, Guardians they did one. They did a Christmas special, so like that doesn't count. But like,
and you also have Iron Man 3, so the MCU's out.
Yeah. Oh, and Hawkeye. Yeah. Technically, it was set during Christmas. So.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. They do like their Christmas in the MCU.
What about John Wick?
John Wick Christmas.
It'd be called Saint Wick.
Saint Wick. He just goes around just shooting people the night before Christmas.
He goes around giving all the kids puppies.
Oh. You just picture Keanu in a Santa hat.
If anything happens to this dog, kid, just let me know.
Could you just see the tagline on the film? Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Okay.
What about Fast and the Furious? Definitely need a Christmas episode.
Oh, God, they have like souped up sleighs. I can see it now.
Oh, damn. They go to the North Pole.
Right? Tricked out sleighs with like nitro on them.
They got NOS, yeah.
They're just racing around the North Pole.
It would be called Fast Xmas.
Christmas morning is coming. And they hit the NOS. Psh, we got presents to deliver.
You know what Christmas is all about? It's all about family. Family and Christmas.
Yeah.
I know a franchise that should do a Christmas movie.
Which one?
Like Lucasfilm should finally own it. The Star Wars Christmas special. They should make Life Day a Star Wars story.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Just flesh it out.
Chewbacca and his family, and it's the whole movie can be in all spoken in Shirey Wook. The whole movie.
What?
Hour and a half.
What?
Is just
Whoa.
Wait.
Just back up.
Wait, spoken what?
Back up.
What?
Is that actually what the language of Wookiee? I always thought it was Wookieese, but I'm wrong. What's it called?
That's racist. Shirey
Okay,
Wook.
Wookietonian. No, what is it?
What's
just
it
say
called?
that again.
Shirey Wook.
What?
I hope I'm pronouncing it right. I always thought it was Shirey Wook.
They have a name for that?
Shirey, that sounds like a Klingon spa retreat.
Shirey Wook.
Where the Klingons go to get like their little their massages and their eyebrows like plucked. Wow. Yes, definitely a Star Wars Christmas full on and own it. And they'll wait till Lucas passes. They'll finally release the holiday special and as a kind of like a special edition, and then they'll have the actual Christmas movie come out like the following year.
Now, who's going to be in it? Will it be Boba Fett? Will it be Princess Leia? Will it
Well,
be...
they would probably set it in the Ray Poe era.
Oh,
So it'd be
man.
like, so it doesn't mess with the canon.
They could do a prequel and they could do young Han Solo. They could bring him in.
I think there has to be a Christmas horror saga. So maybe like one of the Scream films, it would be like, there'd be a Christmas episode where the ghost face is
Just like Santa?
yeah, basically it's the exact same costume just with Santa hat.
How about Halloween for Christmas? Michael Myers in like a red jumpsuit.
Halloween for Christmas. Oh my gosh. And he doesn't use a chef's knife.
Yeah.
He just bludgeons people with his Christmas sack of like wonk wonk.
And does Laurie Strode have to stop him once again?
Right. Oh gosh, this is good. Well, guys, I think these are ideas that are multi-million-dollar ideas that we need to watermark and get to agents right away to.
Like, you heard the good, guys. You heard the goods. We have great ideas. Jump on this.
Yeah.
Pay us.
I have one last pitch that people might not like hearing, and it doesn't really fall into any of the categories we discussed, but live action versions of the Rankin Bass classics.
Well, they did. They did a Year Without a Santa Claus with like John Goodman. Or
Did they really?
Oh,
When?
it was on
'Cause
ABC. I think Chris Kattan was in it. And
What?
I do not recommend it.
I was thinking like Danny DeVito as the heat miser and Christopher Walken as the cold miser.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I'd watch it for that alone.
Oh shoot, people want to see this?
They call me Mr. Cold Miser because whatever I touch turns to ice in my clutch.
Hey, it's hot in here.
That's it. That's all I got.
You know what? That's kind of a mic drop. I think the live action Rankin Bass. Yeah. You know what? It'll happen. It will happen.
What, so do you get a real reindeer to play Rudolph?
CG.
CG,
You get Jon
okay.
Favreau. Jon Favreau comes in, directs all of them. He already has some experience, because with Elf, they had the sequences, the stop motion animation. That was reminiscent of Rankin Bass. And he's
gotcha.
done Jungle Book, Lion King. Yeah, he got it. He has it in the bag.
Okay.
And it'll be graphic. So like when Hermie the elf, gets his dentist tools and rips the teeth out of the abominable, like it'll be like realistic, like blood
spewing.
Yeah.
And that's it, guys. That's our Christmas special.
Well, guys, this has been fun. I can't believe we're ending the year with our 40th episode of the Expanded Universe. 40 episodes.
40.
Yay!
Thunderous applause. 40.
I don't know what we're going to do for the 50th. Maybe some of our Christmas films will have been greenlit, and we will be talking about the upcoming releases of the films we discussed, particularly Smoore's Nolan epic. That was epic.
Thanks again to those of you both openly geeky and closeted geeky for joining us on this expanded universe journey. This has been Smoore, and with me always are my geektacular co-hosts.
This is Doc.
And John H.H.
And remember that this is your safe space to talk about all things geeky and where you can get your holiday geek on. Geek out!
Ho, ho, ho.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Ho, ho, ho. Thanks for listening to Cinema Craptaculous, where you can always find handmade podcast episodes, no AI here. Subscribe and listen to Cinema Craptaculous, where you can always find hilarious movie and TV reviews, along with top-notch pop culture and showbiz news commentary, if I may say so. The Expanded Universe is produced by John H.H. Ford for the Cinema Craptaculous channel. You can find Cinema Craptaculous on all of your favorite podcast platforms. And you can find us on social media using the handle @Craptaculous.